Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about witchy self care. So I thought I'd get a little cozy in my very fall themed living space and start this conversation. And hopefully, it encourages you to practice some witchy self care. Hopefully, it encourages and inspires you to maybe add some additional practices. So, let's talk about why self care is even important. Self care can be a lot of things to different people. Let's just start there. It's not one thing to everybody. So, for me, witchy self care means it's more of a holistic approach. It's just adding in the spirituality piece. And I'll get into it, meditation, divination, and all that sort of stuff. So that's why, adding rituals and spells and things like that makes it witchy for me. Okay, so that's the big distinction between just regular self care and witchy self care. So I use aromatherapy, but I'm using it with a deeper meaning. In the same way that, lighting a scented candle could be part of your self care routine, what may make it witchy is my use of that particular essential oil or scent and what it invokes and what my intention is. So, it's all about intention. So there you go. All right, so let's get into it. I wanted to do this because I practice magic seasonally. I tend to follow the wheel of the year for the most part. And I participate in the Sabbats that are occurring, and the one that is coming up is Mabon or Mabon, depending on how you pronounce it. And this is a time for me to be very reflective. I go into this phase of being reflective and trying to both take advantage of all that the blessings I've already had, right? So it's harvesting time. So all the work that I put in, and really benefiting from that. So all the spell work, all the enchantings and crafts and all that sort of stuff that I've been doing up until now. Now's a chance to really benefit from those. So when, like in the spring, you were laying the seeds down, now's the time to really harvest. So if you've been working on projects, you could hopefully enjoy it. Home improvement projects, makeovers, dieting, things like that. This could, for a lot of people, it's a time to kind of just lean into it a little bit, relax a little bit. Hopefully you've met your goal, you've done it. So, your self-care is sort of being a little bit more nurturing, getting into the habit of enjoying your labor, the fruit of your labor, and then eventually getting to the point of rest by the end of the season, because then you'll be going into the winter season. And the winter season is really about rest. And then, you come in Yule, and Yule is the time for me, once that time comes, is to get probably more contemplative, not just reflective planning. You kind of go in and you kind of plot and plan for the spring. But let's stick with what's to come, because we haven't even gotten to the beginning of fall yet. It's the end of summer. So this is a time I'm thinking about updating my witchy self-care routine. So I wanted to share it with you. And I have my notes here. So first thing I want to do is just talk about some overall tips and suggestions if you have no idea where to start with practicing witchy self-care. So start with a bit of divination. I would start with a tarot reading, oracle reading. You're asking the question of, to the universe, where should I focus my attention? What needs balance in my life? If you're not even sure how to be more reflective during the season and what that means, do pull some cards to see if it highlights that. And having some reflection is just kind of just taking stock and kind of just looking over what you have, what you don't have, what you might want more of. And it's more of just kind of being more philosophical right now. The action that you're committing right now is more about just, okay, now that I know this information, how do I balance this with, everything else going on in my life? And just, trying to just strike the right space for you at the time, whatever feels right to you. And only you can answer that. Only you'll know what feels right. So Just to kind of give it more of a clear-cut example, if you are working full-time and you're starting some sort of you went back to college, or you're getting a certificate program, and I mean, fall's coming, most people are starting those things now, so you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I do this? I have relationships, other commitments in my life besides just work and school, and I really don't want to burn myself out. I would I would do a tarot reading or oracle, but probably tarot. And asking that question, along with what I know I need to focus on to accomplish my goal this season, this semester, where else do I need to keep my focus? What else do I need to do? Because that way, yeah, you already know work is your attention, school's going to be your attention. But there might be other things where it's like, that you will keep your eye on that ball just as well. And listen, we can multitask. We're capable of doing a lot of the things, not all of the things, maybe all at the same time, but a lot of the things. The key to all of this sort of stuff, once you get your divination under wraps, you get your reading done, is knowing what to do with that information, and then factoring in rest and time to just sort of just be or do the things that you enjoy. So yes, you can take the time to focus and, where your attention lies, but along with that, schedule time to rest as well. That's what I meant about balance. I mean, I'm just giving practicalities here because everybody doesn't have a chance to just sit and just, be philosophical for hours on end throughout the day. People have things to do, which is included. So you will have to figure out what that means, and also figure out what you even enjoy doing. What's rest to you? If it is binge watching Netflix, do that. Like, no judgment. But once I got my reading, the next thing is I'm looking to create rituals, routines. Repetition is important. So, your favorite cup of tea, your favorite cup of coffee. If it's a seasonal beverage like me, the PSL lover, pumpkin spice latte, maybe you get the creamer or something for your coffee. Those are little treats. Those treats, we talk about treats, it can be very much a part of your self-care. It elicits joy. And if you're in a place of just feeling a little bit more happy, a little bit more joyful because of these little pleasures, these treats, that's a positive place to be in, and it helps you have a better outlook for the rest of the day, or at least the first part of the morning once you've had your morning coffee or your tea. Okay? If you're into yoga or any sort of exercising, but I'm thinking of like low impact exercising right now, yoga, any stretching type stuff, I think this is a great time to do it. A lot of us, around the months where it starts getting a little bit more chillier outside, your bones ache, your joints aren't doing the thing they did when they were younger. So maybe you need a little bit more stretching in the morning, a little bit more focus stretching. So this is a good opportunity to make sure you're working that in. Create those routines as best as you can. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't make it a thing. Just remembering when you get up to stretch. Take a little extra time to stretch and to breathe through those stretches, Doesn't have to be a big old thing. This is just for you in this body, in your body, to feel comfortable and to just remember to take care of it. It's intentional stretching, you're breathing. You can speak words of gratitude at this time, and maybe even throughout the day if you can remember to do so. But try to remember that in the morning, just to have just that briefest of moments of gratitude. And you can be grateful for a lot of things, but just the bare bones is, hey, I got this body. I can move. It's still moving. I'm still able to do things, and because I don't want to say it, but we all know there's a lot of people who they are going to wake up and they don't get to just move like that comfortably. So be grateful. Be grateful. It goes without saying, this is definitely the season of gratitude to focus on. More about that in another video. The other thing is journaling. I would strongly suggest getting into journaling. This is the good time. Journaling can take on different looks for people. Sometimes it's words for people. Sometimes it's art journaling. It's whatever you want it to be, but I think it's a great creative outlet going into a season where things start to kind of quiet down a little bit. I think it's great because it's something you can do alone or you can do it in a group, honestly. But it's a way for you to sort of get out. It's like a good brain dump. And you can have it guided journaling if you prefer, or you can just create something off the cuff. It's whatever you want to do. But it's an opportunity, yet another outlet to be creative. Okay. Obviously, if you want to add the witchy bent on it, then I would, maybe this is a good time to journal about a specific goddess, or journal about a certain path, or your dream journal, or a journal, or tarot journal. Any of those things this is a great time to either start that or to get back to it if it's something you had started before but you kind of dropped. This is a good time to get back to that. I like the idea, and this is something I'm personally doing, is starting this season, or starting my updated witchy self-care with a ritual to the season. So I want to focus on the energy of harvesting, and I'm looking down at my notes, energy of harvesting, knowing as the season ends that is more of a focus on rest. So it's like I'm thinking about the entire season. I'm thinking at the beginning about harvesting, kind of coming in still a little bit more energetically into the season, understanding that as the season progresses, my focus is definitely more on rest, slowing things down a little bit more, being very picky about the activities and things that I do and time commitments. It's a good time to kind of slow things down. That'll work for me. Go easy on myself, you as well. Carry crystals. For some of us, we do that anyway. I don't leave the house very much because I work from home. So the idea of carrying crystals doesn't hit me the same way like it does everybody else because I'm not leaving the house. However, I want to make sure they're actually physically on my body. So, a lot of us women, we put them in our bra, put them in our pocket, that sort of thing. So I think I'll go on a little shopping expedition and try to find some ways of holding the jewelry that can hold the crystals I already own. I'm not so much looking for new pieces, although I'm not going to say no to that, but if something catches my eye, but I'm looking for like ideas, jewelry where I can already just pop in the crystals that I already own, and just wear them on my person, bracelets, necklaces, things like that. So anyway, that's something I'd like to do. And the type of crystals I'm talking about, like for me, my go-to are rose quartz and moonstone. Very calming, energetically. It's just, they're great. They're great crystals just to have on me. Good energy. Very basic, easy to find. If I need to get more moonstone, it's very easy to find moonstone and rose quartz. These are just like basic crystals I like to have. If you're trying to block and all that sort of stuff, right now I'm thinking of adding to, not so much of blocking away. So those are my go-to favorites, especially for now. And I was going to reflect back on the journal thing. If you haven't started a book of shadows or grimoire, this is a great time to get into it. I can't speak enough about that. I'm big into it. If you watch this channel, I like paper crafts. I like things like that. So I'm always probably going to advocate in some sort of way for you to have some sort of system. It could be on the computer, it could be on your phone and your notes app, whatever you want, on your tablet if you prefer the digital way. But I would strongly suggest some sort of magical record keeping. Your planner is cool too, but a place where you can just sort of write down your thoughts, your downloads that come to you, those signs and symbols that you believe come from the universe, a dream you had, something where you can jot that information down. Rituals that you do, they're great markers to look at. And I know everyone doesn't love the idea of writing things down. I do understand it. I'm to an extent. However, I think that you need to find a system that works for you. You don't have to do my system or anyone else's, but you need to find a way to record this information, because measuring your success does matter when it comes to spell work. Here's my thing. What is the purpose of learning to manipulate energy, of learning to raise energy, manipulate it and direct it, code it, without ever realizing if it worked. Why? Just to see if you could. Okay, I could see in the beginning, but you still have to check to see how do you resolve if it worked, especially if you weren't very clear in your spell results on what your intention was. You know, if you just do spells for abundance and prosperity, well, that can mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean physical money, material wealth. It could mean abundance of love, abundance of bananas. I don't know. It could be a lot of things, you know, that you could have an abundance of time. You can get fired. Like, you got to think about that sort of stuff. Write your stuff down, record it in some fashion, whether it's a video, voice recording, but keep track of that so you learn how to fine tune your magic over time and how to manifest a little bit better, how to be clearer, how to give better directives to the universe, how to manipulate energy to you for your greater good and for, you know, the things that you want to come to you, or things that you want to repel as well. But you need to be able to log that information. I think it's super important. Like, don't skimp on that. A lot of people are willing to just like kind of let that go and think it's not that big of a deal. I mean, full disclosure, at the beginning of my practice, I wasn't so on it with the note keeping of every ritual, every spell that I've done, or everything that I thought about in the beginning. But after a while, shortly, it wasn't that long, because I needed to keep track of this. Like, I wanted to understand. Also, I saw all these wonderful Book of Shadows, and I wanted one too. So that was appealing to me. You know, if it's not your jam, if it's just not something that you're connecting with, I would say purchase a guided one. There's a lot. I've featured some here on this channel. You can get like basically it's pre-filled. You just sort of add in, they ask you questions. Hey, how did this work when you cast the circle? What did you use? And you can add any additional details. And that's it. If you go to Etsy, you can purchase a PDF of Book of Shadows. Somebody's printed all the stuff out for you. Grimoires, where they tell you about herbal remedies. They tell you about the metaphysical properties of herbs and crystals and all that sort of stuff. You can do all that if you don't feel like creating something completely from scratch, which I also understand. That's your choice, your call. So go ahead and maybe look into doing that if that makes it easier for you. But do something, don't not. And this is the time, this is a perfect time to get into that. Okay. And just more practical ideas that I personally will be including. So here are my updates. Aromatherapy. Aromatherapy is something I appreciate and love, but I'm really going in for part of my witchy self-care. Like, this is super important to me. I've already made my visit to Bath and Body Works. I'm about to go on a tangent. So, funny thing about Bath and Body Works, I was having this conversation with my daughter. She always liked that Japanese cherry blossom. If y'all, you know, at Bath and Body Works. It was always one of her favorites. There has been, and I'm like, dang, you just stopped getting it. She was like, yeah, I know. And I realized that over the past few years, there was just like this thing, if you've been paying attention to social media, where there's just like, for lack of better words, the level up coaches. We're really advocating and pushing everything to, in femininity coaches. Level up femininity, go hand in hand. Basically, you know, to rid yourself of Bath and Body Works. I've actually heard this in more than one space. Rid yourself of Bath and Body Works. Invest in, you know, proper adult, grown lady, expensive luxury bath products, because you know, you should take better care of yourself and, you know, graduate from the stuff from Bath and Body Works and all that stuff. So I didn't think any of that really resonated with me or even had any impact on my life at the time. I mean, I'm hearing this, I'm already married. My daughter is not looking at this point to be married. I'm not thinking this really means anything to us. But I realized I hadn't been in Bath and Body Works in a very long time. And I thought about it, I was like, why? Because I went in there recently and I wanted their Halloween line for candles is everything right now, by the way, including the candle holders. That's another story. tangent on tangent. Anyway, but I realized that I think it was having an impact, hearing those different messages. I mean, it was affecting me because I think I was just basically steering clear. I also was making an effort to use natural products, especially in 2020. I was using like natural deodorants and trying to use like just very basic couple, only a few ingredients type care products and all that sort of stuff, which is fine, which is perfect. However, I had some serious negative results from trying to use Castile soap. Dried my skin. Living in here in the desert, not a great idea. And I just had some really not great results with the natural deodorant as well. And I tried different brands that didn't really work as well. So I went to Bath and Body Works, and my daughter, I picked her up her Japanese cherry blossom because it's a favorite and she always liked it, and it's fun to revisit things that you like and they smell good. And I picked up over in their one collection where it's like they have something for sleep, for energizing, and for stress relief. The botanical brand, I forgot what it's called, but anyway, I picked up some of those and I've been using those, and I love that fragrance, and it makes me happy, and it just I use right now it's the chamomile one, and it's for calmness, and oh my gosh, I love it. That scent is intoxicating. It makes me happy. I do feel calm. So that's one of my favorites, and I really enjoy taking extra time in the shower just because I love the scent. And I bought the whole line of lotion, the spray, everything. So anyway, this says it's with essential oils, so there you go. But anyway, aromatherapy is my jam right now. Candles as well. Speaking of Bath and Body Works, let me pull this out. So I picked this up. This is actually their candle holder, which is for the fall, and it's black, so it fits the Halloween and Haunted Nights. This smells, I wish there was smell-o-vision on YouTube. I can't wait till we invent that. Whew, this smells so good. Oh, I love the smell, and I love the actual labeling on the product. I think that's really cool. Haunted Nights. So definitely picked up a bunch of these. They had a buy two get two free, so I kind of went a little cray cray with that, but ignore me and my use of the term cray cray. Anyway, moving on. So I got the aromatherapy pop-in candles, plus I have my own candles, and I add essential oils to it. So really going in, and of course my favorite incense. This is a lemon verbena. Love this. It smells fresh and clean. This is great for just like keeping the energy. I'm a cottage witch after all. I like to have a fresh scent sometimes in the air delivered through incense as well, and just for clearing. And lemon verbena is just like, to me, it just clean slate. It just cleanses the vibes in the home and just keeps it balanced. I love that. And I also enjoy the scent. So more about that aromatherapy. Also eating good food. So eating good food that's good for me. So I am making a point. I've actually picked up weight since the panoramic, what, the Panzerati. Anyway, I've picked up some weight. I think a lot of us did. And I'm not sorry for it. I've been happy gaining it. Food was comforting, and I will continue to allow it to comfort me. However, I will make choices that make more sense for me, that won't hurt me and won't, add to unnecessary weight gain. And I want to do this in a very holistic way, I don't want to no pain, no gain. Like, I'm not taking that hard, heavy approach, There's some dancing videos. Shaun T has something. I'm going to bring that in as part of my self-care. I love movement. I love being able to move my body and shake a little bit. And I think that's also great for spirituality, for womb healing and all that sort of stuff, and connecting with that energy. So that's definitely on my list of things to do. How often I do it, I'll do my best, I'm not going to beat myself up about that. Remember, go easy on yourself. But eating food that's good and good for me. So, finding, this is a great time for soups and stews and all that sort of stuff. But, maybe you want to go a little more heavy on the vegetables and a little less on the meats. Not because meat is horrible, but, just your body processes the vegetables differently than meat. And it's a time to go easy on yourself. So maybe it's not as much. Maybe you don't have gigantic chunks of beef and one or two carrots and a potato. Maybe you want to add a little bit more celery, maybe add a little more green in there, and a little less of the beef. Just saying. At least that's for me. Making sure to keep a schedule that includes rest. As the season goes on, as I mentioned, I want to focus on making sure rest is just as important as my activities. Scheduling rest in my actual schedule. Realizing vegging, or what I call vegging out or binging on TV or whatever. Guess what? Even saying those terms that way, I describe it that way because it's recognizable, but it kind of has a negative connotation to it. It appears as if you're lazy and you could be doing more productive things. I am not meant to be productive in all of my waking hours. Producing all of the time is not the human experience I am trying to have or is some sort of goal for me. I don't believe in hustle culture, grind culture, all that sort of stuff. I don't think it's sustainable. I think that's why you have a lot of younger adults walking around here with anxiety. It might look on the outside that they're getting the advantages of working so hard. I mean, I imagine one would if you're doing it well, right? The problem with that is if you don't build in relaxation and rest more often, it can't be something that you only do, after a year of working so hard and then finally you take a 2-week vacation. I just think we're just not meant to live that way. Find little moments of rest and relaxation throughout your regular daily routine, not just when you go to bed. Making sure that, it's little things. When you're finished from work, whether you work from home or not, what do you do right afterwards? Some people, they jump right into the next routine, and maybe you have to, but maybe right after that, I don't care if you got to go to the bathroom and just sit in there. Listen, moms, we know sometimes your hideout is the bathroom. So you just say, you just sit in there for a moment, even if it's just to look at your phone for 15, 20 minutes, if you're so lucky to have that experience of 15 to 20 minutes, hold on to that. And trust me, it gets better. They get older. And you have new reasons to worry, like why they haven't come to the door or if they're still in the house. But anyway, so definitely look for breaks in between the next activity that you do. If you are traveling, you have to be in a car, make that commute as relaxing as possible while still paying attention to driving. Put on music to blow off steam. If you want to go hard, go hard. If you need something to kind of chill, to bring it down, do that as well. Call your good friend on the phone if it's good to kind of decompress. At the end of the day, talking to somebody, do that. I used to do that all the time. And honestly, having a really good friend to talk to at the end of my workday, and I could talk about work, and I would hear her stuff, and I would hear, so I'm not just in my own head and my own issues. I'm hearing someone else's life and how they're handling it and their work friends and their stories. And I don't know, it made me feel better. So that's a way to kind of decompress, and it's in the self-care section as well, doing stuff like that. And getting to bed at the most optimal time, not early, the optimal time for me. During the week, in the early part of the week, it's important for me to probably maybe get into bed a little bit earlier, just a couple extra minutes earlier than usual, give myself a little bit more time to fall asleep. As the week goes on, I can get a little bit more chill, a little more relaxed. I could push it up to like 11 o'clock instead of 10:30 laying down, and I'm still good to go. By the weekend, whatever I feel like, as long as I don't have a morning commitment, I just let my body do what it's going to do, no alarm necessary. Optimal time, learning to understand about your body, what's important. I don't think everybody works on the same schedule of getting a certain amount of hours. As we age, as we're dealing with different things in our lives, parenting perhaps, you have to make allowances for lack of sleep anyway. So as we get older, I think our body knows, hey, I don't need this many hours, or I do need this many hours. Also, seasonally speaking, when you get into these winter months, you tend to need more time to sleep. The cold weather, all that, you need more hours for sleep. So maybe include that in. Give yourself that time. Give yourself that grace. Don't try to go hard on, your schedules and getting everything done late at night. If you know that as the weather changes, you get more tired. It gets darker outside. Your body is aware that the sun went down and it's going to start responding accordingly. You get tired. And then for the rest of the country that has to deal with daylight savings time, don't have to worry about that. I'm in Arizona now. But for those who do, that used to throw me so off. Me and my kids, it threw us off. It would take us weeks to get back on schedule or whatever our schedule was. So give yourself an allowance for that. And again, go easy on yourself. And then finally, adding time for quiet meditation. It's time for me to bring that back into my schedule on a more consistent basis where I'm just ready to receive information from the universe, ready to feel the feels. When I meditate, one of the things I did starting, I want to say earlier part of the summer, late spring, is I developed this practice where I would put on, what do you call the binaural beats? You can get those YouTube videos that play that, which is awesome. I keep it at a low volume or high frequency. I think you can put that in a search and you'll get some things as well. But I would put that on and my mind would just go all over the place. I would put on an incense that was pleasing to me, aromatherapy, sage cleanse, all that sort of stuff, and just sit on the floor because I think it's important to be like on the floor, close to the earth, grounding. And, my mind would feel like it was everywhere, but I let that happen. I didn't try to force my mind to do like a om thing or to go empty and blank. I just let it run. I let it run and eventually it started, tapering off. And then sometimes a random thought would come in and would lead to more random thinking. However, I think this is just how my mind was sort of like, I don't know, I think it was like emptying, like a brain dump. It was just going out into the universe, into the atmosphere or whatever, just these random thoughts that I was just releasing. And I looked at it more like a releasing rather than something to be suppressed, and just taking the opportunity to just sit and meditate. To me, that can be meditation. It has to be because it worked. And then when I'm done and I feel pretty solid, once I kind of get to a point where I'm not getting so many random thoughts, it slows down. Sometimes it doesn't slow down enough where it completely stops, but it slows down enough where I feel pretty solid. At that point, grounded, and I get up and I'm ready to go. So if you're someone who's like me and it's kind of hard to shut it off, instead of looking at it like you're supposed to shut it off and reach this nirvana state where there's nothingness happening, maybe look at meditation as an opportunity to just brain dump. Metaphysically speaking, it's just going into the ethers, those random thoughts. But you make a decision ahead of time with you and the universe that you understand those random thoughts are just that. They're just an emptying. This is just a brain dumping session. You're not asking the universe to respond to any of these thoughts. And that gets you off the hook with, wishing something crazy on yourself or, asking for something you really don't want, but it's just random thoughts. So there you go. All right, so that's all I got to say about my updated witchy self-care for fall ritual and plan that I plan on executing. There'll be more videos coming where I'm taking a more practical approach, and definitely about gratitude. I like to do that at least once a year around November because, Thanksgiving, all that sort of stuff. But I like to add a little witchy bent on that as well. All right, so that's it. So thanks for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Sleep Taken. Please like, subscribe, share. Let me know in the comments about your updated, if you have an updated witchy self-care. Do you change things seasonally? What new things are you doing? What things would you like to apply to your self-care? Do you even have a self-care plan? What do you do to chill? Let me know. All right, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.